Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
My mouse was stuck. It is 1/5/2026. Level Up College Football Podcast. Happy New Year to all our listeners, all our viewers, everybody that rocks with us. And for the Level Up College Football Podcast every year, we appreciate all you guys rocking with us in the live chat. Listen, y'all, we are in 2025. If you've not already liked and subscribed and or shared the Level Up College Football Podcast, make sure you share it with friends, family, every person that you know that would support college football, because that's where we're at. That's what we do on Mondays with the Level Up College Football Podcast. You can find us wherever you find your audio podcast, Apple, Spotify, and or Google. And like I said, if you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure you like, subscribe, and or share, because we do a live show every Monday. Me, my crew, Sarah C, Theresa-B B-Dirt, and whoever else wants to fall into the crew, we appreciate y'all. But we can't even get to the show until I start off right off the bat with my co-host, Sarah C. Sarah, what's crack-a-lackin', girl? What's going on with your new year?
Oh, nothing. Happy 2026. I'm kind of just I'm really excited for these games that are coming up. I love this time of year when it comes to football for pro and college, because playoffs mean something. And when something means something, everyone plays just a little bit harder. So it makes it a lot more entertaining. So I'm definitely ready for it. And it's supposed to be, not super, super cold for the next couple of days. So that's a nice feeling.
Yeah. It's gonna get unseasonably warm, and it's gonna get unseasonably cold. But the weather in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan has a tendency to be bipolar. You see, we get down. It has a tendency to do that. Hey, listen, we thank everybody in the live chat for joining us. We got people falling in right now. Joshua Armstead, Kennedy Jorsey, what's up? Afton, great one. We appreciate you guys. Henry Johnson, we appreciate you guys rocking with us on the live podcast. And I hear somebody, Kennedy said, she said, I told you the Buckeyes were soft. I mean, you see, I ain't got no defense, no this, that, and this. I got my Matt Patricia pencil in right now because it's back to the drawing board for the Buckeyes. And that's going to be what our first topic of conversation is. Listen, I'm going to say this and I'm going to be perfectly clear. What is happening to college football is a travesty. I thought that what would happen is you would improve the overall product to the power teams, and the rich would get richer. I thought that you would put them in position to where you wouldn't be able to stockpile talent anymore, but you wouldn't see them go to wherever they wanted to go. But as of today, Sarah, right now, as we're speaking, there's over 4,000 students. And I keep it, let's say students in the transfer portal. That is double than what we had in 2025. You got one window. There's 4,000 students in the transfer portal. Sarah, I just want to get your initial thoughts about this. How in the hell is this even possible?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so torn when it comes to this entire, system now, the NILs, the transfer portals, everything like that, because I really love the fact that, some of these teams have been built off of transfer portals, and it has really helped some of these mediocre to low-level teams really, build a team just like Indiana, just like Texas Tech, and you have great coaching behind that. And when you combine the two and they're being able to see talent, you get a really good product on the field. So like that part I love. And the 4,000 people, that's a third of the kids that are playing right now that are in this transfer portal. Then we get to this point where it's like, okay, past like probably past like the first, I don't even think 1,000. After that, you're just having kids just try to find a way to like make a little bit extra, get an extra year of eligibility, do something like this. And I know that it's a business, and that's what it has become now. And I just don't know how you can fix it. And one of the first things you can do probably to fix it would be change the calendar. I don't know if you want to open up a wider window, if you want to make it 2 windows. I know that a lot of people didn't like that because of the spring, but I just think that when you only have this very, very small very small window to do all of this, you're going to panic. And I mean, these are very young men that are panicking because they have to think like, okay, I'm either gonna, maybe possibly get a championship from where I'm at, or I got to go now. I can't sit down and really think about it. We don't give any of and they're like between the ages of 19 and 24 years old, and they're supposed to make a life decision in a 2-week span of time. I mean, that's hard. Now, I know some of these kids will end up probably not always transferring. I know that like there's a way to possibly not have it happen. I don't think that, you're going to have 4,000 kids probably moving about. And it's hard to look at it and say like that it's not damaged in a little bit, but like, I just wish there was more, like more levels and more rules to it, because that's where I think the biggest issue is, because there's no parameters. And that's why you're getting it to be so high in stakes and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like I said, I love the fact that like we're getting better product on the field by a lot of these teams, but also like they're always having to refill. So I don't know. I do like some of what he's saying, get an extra year. I think that could be it. I mean, I think that Chambly should get another year in my opinion, but that's kind of whole nother topic of conversation.
Right. Now, I mean, let's be perfectly clear. And Vic, man, we appreciate you. You said get an extra year, but Trey Weiser just got $2 million value with 5 with the other vendors. It means he did not go pro, but he got a chance to make some money now. I mean, let's be clear. Most of these young men come out of situations where their families are not generationally wealthy. The higher percentage of these young men come out of situations, not all of them, but most of them come out of situations where they are generationally wealthy, right? And if I can play at the collegiate level, at a certain level at the collegiate level, and I can make anywhere between 4 and let's say possibly maxing out 10, unless you're a guy like Jeremiah Smith or something like that, I can make between $4 and $10 million. That is life-changing money for my family. That's generational changing money for my family. So I'm not mad at all of these kids at all, right? And this goes to this comment. Henry Johnson said a very tiny percentage ever get an NFL contract. I don't blame any kid for grabbing the dollars when his skills in demand. I don't
blame the kids at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Henry, me and my crew, we've been saying for the longest, the Level Up crew, that these people are employees. We've been saying forever that they should unionize. We've been saying forever that they should have rights, and they're not necessarily student athletes. These kids are employees that should have an opportunity to unionize and put themselves in position to do well concerning their families, because we're talking about millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? But the issue is, in my opinion, Sarah, and I'm going to get your reaction to this, I think it's imploding on top of itself. And the reason why is because you no longer have an opportunity to really build a program. Now it's like instant grits, right? Pour water and shake, and you got a program. And that's why you're seeing a team like, I mean, let's just face it, 2 of the teams in the college football playoff, Texas Tech University, Indiana, is pour water and stir, right? And now Signetti, because I don't know if you knew this or not, He had an 8% blue chip ratio on his team. There was 8% of the kids that was on Indiana's football team right now today are blue chips. Blue chip is a 4-star or higher, 8%, right? Now what does he do when instead of him getting non-blue chips, now he starts getting blue chips? Because now if you go and look at Indiana's current portal, Indiana's got 4 and 5 stars already lined up hitting the door. I've already been told it privately. I'm going to say it publicly. The kid that's coming in to play quarterback for them, Hoover, is better than Mendoza. The kid from TCU is better than him.
Oh, I know.
Right. So now you're building a program. So I think that it's going to implode because unless your university can look at having a $40 to $60 million payroll annually, how can you remain competitive? Sarah, that's my question. How do you remain competitive if you don't have a $40 to $60 million payroll?
No, and that's, I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the head. Like, that is the problem, because you are going to have now these programs now that are building through the portal, and they're going to be getting more of these blue chips, and you're going to get the powers again, and it's all going to be about the money, which is why I think a lot of the old big powers, they don't actually have a lot of the money. They had the talent to pick from where they were down, especially in the South. Like, you could just literally walk into any high school and pick up like 5 to 10, 4 or 5 star players out of these schools, because that's just what happens down there, or any of these states that have very, very, high football IQ areas like Western Pennsylvania. Like, we have it too here. They were not as big as the South, but now you have them so much more spread out, but they're going to go to the schools that have the more money. And, it's odd. It's interesting, but these schools like Indiana and Michigan and Oregon, they have already built themselves as such a high academic school, and they have, produced people that make a lot of money now. And those people now want to put more money into these schools and build these programs, because then that brings in more money for the school. So that is where you're having that issue, because that is why Oregon, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State, those schools have so much more money backing them because of the product that they've had academically come out behind them. Texas Tech, another one. Look at what you have. You have an oil guy who played football. So he not only knows football, he has money. So that is where, yes, you're definitely going to see the implosion. And that is why we are seeing some of these SEC teams not have the competitiveness, because now these bigger schools with a lot more money are taking the kids that they were usually able to recruit, because that's how you built your system. And that's not how it's happening right now. And that's where I think that we have to come up with an idea on parameters, especially with the money, because I think that you're going to lose the parity. Like, right now we have a lot more parity in it, which I love, but it's going to become just like how it was when the SEC was literally the powerhouse, and then everyone was kind of like would sneak in every once in a while, the Ohio States, the Michigans, the Florida State, stuff like that. But it was always them. Now it's turning around on them, but it's going to probably end up being that same thing. It's just going to be in a different conference. So yes, I think that you need to build it more like a business. You need to have contracts. You need to have some type of salary cap. You need to have more of a calendar that is set better for these students, because like what they said, you have how many percentage that are actually going to go in the NFL. These kids are making money, but they also need an education. Like they're going to go out and do something with themselves after the fact. And that's how you're going to build your programs consistently. If you give these kids the opportunities, like some of these schools have been able to do, you're going to continue to get repaid by these kids that are making money in the future. So like it's cyclical. There's a lot to it. And you have 132 schools, and that's the problem. You just have so many voices. And I just wish that there was a way to look at these, these ADs and these commissioners and be like, stop worrying about how powerful you are and fix the system. Fix it. Like, truly fix it. Come to an actual solution that helps everybody, not just your conference. Because guess what? What ends up happening is like you end up looking worse, and then people don't want to be around you, like don't want to be there, like they don't want to be part of that conference. And it's just it's they are the ones that are imploding on themselves. It's the ones that are up as the highest that are imploding on themselves because they think that they have all this power and they don't. And they are letting everybody else just run wild. And soon it's going to massively implode. And I definitely agree with that, like 100%.
Yeah, I'm going to get to some of these comments, but Sarah, I'm going to come back to this because I got some stuff I want to chop up with you with this, right? So he said, the great one said they could do contracts. They should have it to only where transfer once unless a coach leaves, coming from an outside FBS, from maybe a G5 to a Power 4 gets an exception too. I get that, but then you know what will happen? Kids will start going to the minor leagues first, the under Power 4, and then they'll go up so they can move around. And then they'll jump back down and they'll go back up. And you've already seen that. The Trinidad Childress is from freaking Ferris State University. Yeah, he went low so he could get high. And look what's happening for him, right? Big G, I'm guessing Ohio State has like a 30% blue chip ratio. No, it's more like 25 to 27%, but it's close to 30. But blue chip ratio to me matters because that's how you win championships. I think Sarah thinks the same. Sarah, all of Ohio is good too. South may have more speed than us, though. You agree, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm not saying I was just picking like small, the areas that are around. Like I grew up half of my life in Florida and half of my life in Western Pennsylvania. I've been surrounded by football since I was literally out of the womb. So like I've seen it everywhere. And there's definitely Ohio, Pennsylvania. That is definitely a nice area to pick from too.
Yes. Yes. Kennedy Jones says this. Indiana is loaded with four-year juniors and fifth-year seniors. They will drop as quick as they rose once graduation hits. I agree with that. Their average age is 22.5 years. So almost 23 years. So those guys technically should be somewhere in the middle of their first contract headed towards their second contract as far as the NFL is concerned. But what happens is when you get kids picked over, because these are kids that was at smaller universities that came up and they were like, okay, we can't make it to the NFL, but we go here and shine. Now our draft value or stock raises. Look at their current roster. I think they're projecting right now between their starting lineup, offense and defense, 22 starters. They're saying 14 of those kids are going to get drafted. So listen, they made the right move for them. Ma said, but let me be an advocate. Sometimes a kid doesn't fit in somewhere else. Scheme, so I'm able to see the next place and be in a scheme that fits. I've proven that I can play D1. It's about the scheme now. Mod, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that because it makes sense because you have to have the right fit to be able to put yourself in a position to excel at the next level. Last comment right here with Mod real quick. He said, the last thing is the agents whispering these kids' ears, making them think that they can get more money. Well, I'm just going to quote Ed Orgeron. Ed Orgeron, former LSU head coach, said the only thing that's changed is we used to run the money through the back door and hide it in paper bags. Now we're walking through the front door with suits and briefcases. Right? That's the only thing that's shifted is now it's just the money shifted about versus hiding it in a paper bag. Now it comes through the front door with a suit and a briefcase. Right? But Sarah, this is what point I want to come back to. Okay? Do you believe, because I think that this, like I saw this happen before. It's not the very same similar situation, but very close to it. I remember how good the 90s were with building teams in NC2A basketball, right? Oh, yeah. The 90s would load up, right? And then the kids would 3 years they would play and then they go pro, right? And then every now and you get a kid that was 2 years and he go pro, right? And then you saw the power brokers got greedy. And then when the power brokers got greedy, then they started this whole one and done thing because the NBA changed the rules, right? And what happened was NC2A imploded, right? And then now these kids was like, no, we're coming straight out of high school. We're doing this, this, and this. We're going to be to go direct line to the pros. And now the quality of NC2A basketball is nowhere close to where it was in the 90s. These kids go to the G League. They're trying to get to that first contract, to that second contract faster. And then now you're seeing it where guys are getting drafted and turning around and going back to the universities. They got drafted, played in the G League, and then showing up in college basketball. So I think that this has got the makings of that concerning college football. I just want to think if we're lining up and thinking the same way, Sarah.
Yes, but I think that is the one difference is I don't think the NFL will ever change their rules. I don't, they've been pretty hell-bent on that. They want developed, they want adults. And, an adult is not 19 years old. Yes, legally you're considered an adult, but you are not an adult. Yeah. You are still an immature, young adult. Like there's no way. And the NFL has built themselves based off of that they, they want people who have some sense of, maturity that they're going into. And there's still kids that are going in there and do not have that maturity. But the NBA wanted to grow their product to become the number one league in sports because they were so popular in the 90s. And that was their way to do it, was the way to get the talent in there as quick as they possibly could. And I mean, it worked for a really long time. It was. But yes, and that's the problem, is that the basketball version of this is so much worse than what we're even dealing with in football. So much worse. There is absolutely nothing. Like you're getting kids from the G League. You're getting pros from overseas that are coming over and playing. I don't even know. Like that is so much of a bigger mess. And that, you know what? My thing is, the only thing that I have, it kind of makes me giddy is because I don't like the NCAA. I think that they screwed around for way too long and had dumb rules and were fining and punishing kids for, I don't know, getting peanut butter on a bagel or getting a townhouse for their parents so that they could actually come and see. No, you did this to yourselves. You need to go away. There needs to be someone else in. I did want to go back to Maud's comment, though, about the not fitting into the scheme, because that is exactly why Curt Cignetti has been successful. He is literally scouting the talent and finding the right guys every single year. That is when coaching matters, is when you're dealing with this, because you are every single year. You have to kind of retweak your team, not just based off of recruits and everything like that. But he's seeing the talent out there in the NCAA, in Division I football, and saying, hey, he's not playing great here, but you know what? I can do this with him, and look at what I can do with him. And that's what he's done. So that, I mean, he is like the top tier version of what this can be. And I love seeing that. But there's also these kids that just want, they think that, okay, well, they're going to give me more money. I'm going to be better there. And then I don't fit into their scheme. This wasn't worth my time. And that's why they continuously keep transferring. So you have those two little, it's a battle right now. It's just a battle of money, talent, draft stock, everything like that. But no, I think that as long as the NFL sticks to their guns on certain things, I don't think it'll ever go to the point of where basketball has gone. But yes, it is a scary thing to think that it could possibly get there.
Yeah, Sarah, that was a great point, because we saw that. And so now you're seeing the inklings of it and the tricklings of it. And that's why I got issues with NCAA basketball. So let me ask some more of these questions. Tim Lyons said, would this even be a big deal if Ohio State didn't win? Tim, let me make it perfectly clear. The Level Up College Football Podcast is about college football. It is not about Ohio State, not about Oregon, not about Notre Dame. It's about college football. We care about college football in totality. So it doesn't matter if Ohio State won or lost. We're talking about college sports and college football. Mon said Cam Coleman, the wide receiver from Auburn, just went home, not visiting Vodtech or USC. He visited Texas A&M. Somebody threw him a bag. Absolutely, that's what's going on, right? Great One says, as an NBA fan, I'm a little disappointed in Silver for letting the guys go back to college. You're right. I mean, there's no way that should have happened. There's no way that a kid gets drafted and then allows themselves to go back. But Sarah, that's the maturation we're going to see. The maturation you're going to see is a kid's going to get drafted by a team. It's not going to work out because they don't have a farm system, and they're going to end up back on somebody's. They're going to be 25. I'm not hating on nobody. I'm just going to say this. The guy that was out there laying wood, pause, no diddy, for Miami, the defensive back, he's 26 years old. He should be working on his second NFL contract. He's 26. He's transferred 3 times, right? So I mean, that's a grown man who's got a family at home, who's got kids and a wife or whatnot. He's paying bills versus a 19 or 20-year-old kid. That's different. That hits different, right? So let me answer this question. Henry Johnson said, I listened in a couple Buckeye podcasts after their loss. They now say that there's the need to steer more NIL money to line up and play 6 wide receivers. I mean, listen, you got to play where your talent's at. So let's be clear. Ma says, Sarah, big facts. Sarah's fact. Cook is one who's just transferring for a check. There's a lot of kids that's just transferring for a check. Absolutely. Pick as you big dummy, man. Yeah. And yeah, facts, bro. He's 26. He's 20. Hell, go look when you go to different rosters and you see senior transfer, that means that they've been in college for a minimum 5 years. In most cases, it's 6.
Yeah, they can be
so
grad
now
students.
That's correct. Well, and they could get an extra year. Because last year was supposed to have been the last of the portal kids. But I mean, from the COVID kids, but it hasn't. It's stretched out. You got guys who are 25, 26 years old still playing college football. They are, and so now you're getting a check. You're getting a check, and all in your favor. Listen, I'm all for it. But let's stop calling these kids student athletes. Let's start calling them employees because that's what they are. I got to claim that. If you give me $5 million, I have to claim that on taxes. Yeah. Somebody should be getting 1099. I mean, I don't know about you, Sarah, but somebody needs to get a 1099. That's $6 million damn dollars. I'm just saying that's all they are. They're independent contractors. Name, image, and likeness. They're independent contractors that can get paid for what they do. Let's stop calling them student athletes, man. Kennedy says Chris Winkie won the Heisman at 26 in the 90s after he flamed out in baseball. That is big facts. Absolute facts. This is not like it's new, but the widespread massive transfer portal issue is the problem. 4,000 kids in the portal? 4,000? Are you freaking kidding me? Right? And the blue bloods, the Ohio States, the Notre Dames, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Texas, they have 18 to 20 kids off their roster in the portal. Kids that were next to play next. They ain't waiting. They're not waiting, and I'm not mad at them. Go get your money, bro. Go get your money. But they're portals. They're getting paid out of the portal. Tim Lyons said, "What's that stuff?" It's a pencil, man. We got to get back to the drawing board. It's a pencil. You got to get back to the drawing board. You got to figure out how the hell this thing's going to work. Because in the portal era, listen. In the portal era, it's got to get diabolical. It's got to get diabolical. You got to be able to. You damn near need a whole staff separate to just recruits, and then a staff just to coach. Sarah, what you thinking?
No, that's what I said a couple weeks ago. That's what I said. All of these, these football teams need to have these GMs because if you're like Indiana, Oregon, Ole Miss, like these coaches are coaching their team to go off and to play in the playoffs. Like they don't have time. I mean, I know they said Sigdetti's sitting down with, transfer portal guys for like an hour and then he's going and, putting up plays. Like there's too much. Like it's going to wear these coaches down too if you don't have that staff to help you out with that. Which I mean, like that's where you get a GM, you get a recruit, like a bigger recruitment staff, stuff like that. Like that is going to have to happen unless you fix something. Personally, calendar would be the first thing, but we'll see.
Ma's saying you can carry 85. I heard that they can carry almost 100. I heard that they can almost, if you do it just right, you can carry almost 100 kids on scholarship. And then the ones that don't get the scholarship, you pay them out the portal. The portal now, the collective now pays for those kids that you can't put on scholarship. So I'm hearing some schools got 100 guys. They got 100 kids on the books. That's diabolical. That is diabolical. And you're going to ruin one of the best sports out here. To me, you're going to hurt college football in more ways than you can think of. Sarah, we can talk all day about this subject. We got to switch. And we got to switch because I'm telling you, it's a great subject, man. It's a great subject. We're going to come back and visit this after the portal closes on the 16th of January because some of them other teams that are still playing will get a little longer window. But we'll come back and visit this whole portal shakeup, and be like, okay, who's what? All right, now, this transitions directly into what we're going to talk about. Is the college football playoff system broken based on some of the stuff we just talked about? The higher seeds are now 1 and 7. So you fight to win your conference championship. You fight to get a higher seed. You fight to go undefeated. You get 25 to 27 days off. And you're 1 and 7? You're 1 and 7. Indiana's the only dude that broke the code. Everybody else can't break the code. Sarah, what's the problem with it, Sarah? What's the problem?
Well, yeah, I mean, that definitely goes right back into that. That's where this calendar gets all screwy. Like, why are I get it. They should have a break because of the holidays and stuff like that. But also you have to think about the fact that you're taking over that time for this, for these playoffs right in the middle of it when they should be on break. And then they're going right back to class. Like, they don't get a break unless, they take these 25 days off. Now, I think that the system is broken based off of the way that we're ranking these teams. I don't think that there should be buys anymore unless you can literally make the buy 7 days, like a normal buy. It's a week, 1 whole week. That just gives them a little bit of an extra resting time, and that's it. You can't be giving these kids 20 to 25 days off. Like, this is just insane because you don't know who the heck's regulating what the heck they're doing. Like, it's not, again, they're not professionals. They are still kids. But I don't know. I think that hopefully they go to 16. I think that it's just the best 16. You start playing them right as soon as that, you give everyone, from the end of the conference championship games to the playoffs, a week off, start everybody. The end. Everyone gets the same break. Everyone starts at the same time. Now, I wish I could understand why some of these teams were losing. I can't, this last year, it made a little bit more sense because those were the 4 conference championships and they were not the 4 best teams. This year was the 4 best teams according to rankings. But I mean, I think that Indiana, they won their conference and so on and so forth. They were the best team, and that was pretty much it. And now everybody else, they're running off. It's just like any type of playoffs. They're running off of, I'm losing words all of a sudden. They have momentum, and momentum means something in the playoffs. It's meant something in the playoffs in every sports league. A lot of times, just because you're the best team at the end of the season does not mean you're going to win. And it happens a lot more often that the lower seeds win because they are building off of the momentum. They had to win their last 3 regular season games to make it into the playoffs and then move in and then start playing in the playoffs and need to win. You're 1 and done. You're 1 and done. You're 1 and done. You've been living off of that at the end of the season. And I think that is why a lot of these teams who are coming in and winning in the college football playoffs against these teams that are on buys is because that's what they have. They have momentum. And I don't think it's wrong. And I think that, the matchups definitely worked in the favor of some of these teams. Like, I definitely think Miami's matchup against Ohio State was definitely they were not matched. Like, I could see from the beginning, I was like, you know what, this is Miami is tonight. They're better. And that's all you can say. Same thing with Texas Tech. Like that, Oregon had that momentum. They had a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. So I think that that's the thing. I think that you should give everyone a week off and then just start with a blank slate and get everyone started on the same week. And I also think there should be more home games. I think that if they don't change this, so there's a double-edged sword. If you don't change it and you don't start everyone on the week, then those 4 top teams should be allowed to have home games. I don't understand that. That one boggles my brain. I get it. You have to have the games at the bowls. Then that's why you add. I don't know how you're going to fix that part, but you shouldn't be punished to not have a home game because you finished in the top 4 of, your rankings. Like that's supposed to be the best part about it. That's why the NFL gives the 4 conference champions home games. Like,
Yeah.
and then they move on and on and on, and it's all based upon where you are ranked and how many home games you get. I mean, there was a chance that San Francisco was going to never have to leave the state for the rest of the playoffs. Like,
yeah, if they would have won.
If they would have won, that's the benefit of being great. That is the benefit of fighting to be number one. And that is not how the college football playoff is at all right now. Like, you're benefiting if you're right there in the middle.
Yeah. And Sarah, we've seen that. So I'm going to get to some of these comments again. TV deals with Army, Navy, they can't move it. There's a way around that. There's a way around that, though. There's a way around that. What you do is you can move Army, Navy as long as it's the last game of the year. They can move the date it's played on as long as it's the last game of the year. So there's a way around that, man. Kennedy says 8 games isn't enough data to find anything conclusive. I can flip a coin and get it 8 tails in a row. I'm not mad, but I'm telling you, the NC2A and the College Football Committee's not going to wait to keep getting conclusive data, because what they're pissed off about, because let's just be perfectly clear. The expansion of the playoff was for the SEC. It was. I don't care what people think of. I'm biased. It's true. They wanted to make sure that the Blue Bloods, the Alabamas, the Georgias had an opportunity to win a chip. They're sitting at the crib. They're sitting at the crib right now. So this ain't working, man. This ain't working for the NCAA committee and the 2A and all whatever else. They ain't going down with it. Tim Lyons said College Football Committee got it all wrong. Enough excuses for them. I don't disagree. I think that I don't disagree, but I think that the issue should have been that what Sarah's saying is you shouldn't punish teams for winning to not let them play at the crib. You play at the crib. All right. CBS Sports holds the exclusive TV rights for the Army-Navy football game. A deal is extended in December of 2024 through the 2038 season. They can move it because CBS Sports also has an exclusive right with the Big Ten. Listen, money talks and BS runs the marathon. So they can move it if they want to. They don't want no other game that weekend. That's what I'm trying to say. You make it a way that you can do that. There's a way around it. The black and gold standards, Sarah, I'm going to let you answer this one. 25 days of millions in the pockets. I'm a college student, and I'm totally wilding out and totally losing focus. Do you think that's what happens concerning the kids in the portal and being out and being able to do what they want today and got 25 days off?
I mean, I can't say that that's what's happening with all of them, but I definitely think that, you don't have class. You probably get time off of practice. You're getting more free time. And I'm sorry, idle hands is not the best thing for when you need to be on point. And that is what happens with people that are young. Like I mean, at 21 years old and I had 2 weeks off and I didn't have to work or anything like that. You think I was a responsible human at all? No, I was not. I was spending money like it was nothing. I thought that I was, free to the world because that's what you do. That's what you do when you have free time, especially when you're young, because you don't have any responsibilities. And you know what? Besides playing in these games and making the money that they already are getting, those are the responsibilities that they have. Maybe class too. That's the next second one. That's it. That's all you have. You're not paying bills. Yeah. You're not doing you don't have to deal with any of that. So why not? Go have fun.
3.5 weeks of having fun too. Party.
I mean, that's
right.
Yeah.
Henry Johnson, the benefit is the bye. Ask A&M if they'd rather have the bye or first round home game.
Oh, they would on a home game.
They wanted a home game. What it is, they ran into a Mack truck made the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And they were overrated. They ran into a Mack truck made the Miami Hurricanes and they were overrated. Right? Big G, you're right. Start the games earlier in August. But I even got a bigger solution than that. I'm going to get to that. Tim Lyons said they'd be at the club. Listen, these are rich young kids. They're rich young kids. They partied. They kicked it. They're not prepared. And the way that the NC2A rules work, they only get so many practices before the games. They can't call them back to a certain amount of time. They can't. So because the way the current rules are. So you're punishing, in my opinion, excellence. You are punishing excellence. You're not giving excellence an opportunity to play their best. So, Sarah, I'm going to say this. I agree with the home games. I agree with 16 teams. I agree. But what I think they should do, and it's just my opinion, I think that they need to go to 10 conference game schedules and play one opponent outside of their conference. I mean, you got these super conferences. Yeah. You got the ACC. You got the Big Ten. You got the SEC. You got the Big 12. 10 games, one out of conference game. Let's go. And I think that you should split it into divisions. Like you got the West versus the East. You get a preferred matchup. You got 9 on this side, 9 on that side. Okay, I play everybody on my side, and I get one from the other side. I mean, this fixes a lot of it because now you know what you got. You got one game out of – and see, this is what you're seeing. Alabama's done threatened, said they're not playing their series against Ohio State. Texas has talked about canceling it against Michigan and Ohio State. They don't want to be punished for playing teams outside of what they got going on. Take care of business in your conference and you get to the promised land. And I think that's going to have to be the way. Because because I'm going to be honest, I told my brother this, and I meant this. If I'm Texas, ain't no way in hell I'm playing Michigan and Ohio State. Because I got punished for doing it. I lost to Ohio State and got punished. You can't tell me Texas would have ran out there and not gave Oregon a game. You can't tell me Texas would. You can't tell me they wouldn't have gave Ole Miss a game. They got punished for losing a game. They did. They lost to the diabolical Florida. But if they don't play Ohio State, they got 2 losses versus 3. You see what I'm saying? If they don't play Ohio State, you got 2 versus 3. So I'm just saying, I don't play no power no more. For what? Hell, I really don't even want to play in a conference championship game. I don't want to because it punishes me. I just want to get enough to get into the playoff. I want a first round home game and then way go. Because listen, don't get it twisted. That's how we got this chip in 2024, Sarah.
Momentum.
We beat the hell out of Tennessee week 1 and away we go. So I'm just saying. Now, Henry, you're right. The bye didn't hurt Indiana, but you know why? Because Curt Cignetti is a mad scientist with a bunch of grown damn men playing for his team. Look at his 2-deep roster. They're senior transfer grads. That's what they're filled up with they're filled up with a bunch of 22, 23, and 24-year-old men. That's why it didn't hurt him. That's why if you go back and watch his press conference at the Big Ten championship game, Curt Cignetti said, well, Coach, what do you worry about the layoff and all of a sudden this? He said, no, I got a way of motivating them. But you know what he did? And a lot of folks don't know this, and you can Google it. Like he says, Google me, Google
me.
He made those kids come back early. What he did is he wasn't the head coach for a week, and he let the strength and conditioning coach run the program. And they had 2 of days. Google me. They had 2. He drilled them.
Do you think
and he did it on purpose.
Hell
no, because they know they're about to get the chip. Googling. Cignetti's a mad scientist, right? So Sarah, my last point about this whole thing, right? Do you believe that the playoff committee, because they didn't meet in December, because Notre Dame didn't want to come to the table with the Big Ten and the SEC, because they wanted lock spots. Do you think that by the time this thing rolls out in 2026, that they go to 16 teams?
I want to say yes, and it's going to definitely, I think after this week, it's going to definitely be interesting because if it is an ACC and a Big Ten team fighting for the championship, there is going to be a lot of voices back there, and I definitely can see it. So I'd like to see what happens. I mean, no matter what, the SEC still, they hold a lot of power because they have a lot of the money, they have the media rights, and they have everything like that right now. It's swaying, but they still have it, and there's enough people in the college football committee that have ties enough that they're going to want to improve this to an extent. And Notre Dame. I mean, I'm sorry. Notre Dame should have been in the playoffs. Like, I get it. They lost those 2. You know what? And they played 2 non-conference. Well, they don't have a conference, but they played 2 teams that they didn't have to play. They lost by a very small margin, ran the field, and then they're head-to-head with Miami. Now, Miami, I think, definitely deserved it too. And that's where you get into that. Texas, like, there were teams right there at that bottom that deserved it and didn't get in. And I'm not against these group of 5 teams getting in. It's not that, but it's just, there has to be some form of a workaround. And I think that if you are ranked in the 16 and you are in a group of 5, you 100% should be allowed to get in there. It shouldn't be based off of how many teams are in each conference. I don't agree with that. I think it should be based on the top 16 teams at the end. Doesn't matter how many is from what conference, so on and so forth. Now, if there's a lot of bias to it, you're going to have that. That's why I think there should be some form of a combo of like, the BCS wasn't good and this isn't, the poll era isn't good. Maybe mix the two. Maybe an opinion and a little bit of a computer. Put the two together. See what happens. They'll pop out a lot more logical explanations than some of these guys, these ADs explaining themselves every week with Reese Davis, because 9 times out of 10, all they're doing is speaking out of their butts.
Well, Reese Davis has those guys looking diabolical, and there was no logical explanation. Notre Dame lost to Texas A&M and Miami. Both of those teams are in the playoff. Miami's in the Final Four. Notre Dame is a playoff team. Whether they like it or not, they were. I know they're trying to force them in a conference and all whatever else, but no, they were a playoff team, right? So the issue is, and like I said, we're going to continue this conversation more and more and more because it's got to be ways to fix this. It has to be. I think by the time they kick off in 2026, you're going to be elevated to 16 because they're not playing no more with the SEC not being able to get to the finals. I mean, Ole Miss, the great story. I don't think they got a chance in hell. I'm just going to be honest. Miami's going to boat race them. So because Miami's defense is filled up with a bunch of grown men playing football, they hit the transfer portal to Miami. Google it. Look and see what they got. Look at their roster. See, when you see TR behind their name, you're going to be like, holy crap, they are filled up with transfers. Yeah, because they're a bunch of grown men playing football. Right? All right, Sarah, we got about 10 minutes. We're going to be quick. We got 2 semifinal games. What's the black and gold said? He said, is LSU letting coaches? Yes, they are. I heard they left and they went back to Louisiana after the game. Yeah, they are. They're letting them go to and from. Lane Kiffin's like that. He's not going to hate and destroy the program that he helped build.
But each time, less of them are going back. But the one that matters is Charlie. Wait, is this Charlie
Weiss?
Yeah,
Charlie Weiss Jr.
Junior. That's why I was like, wait, that's his dad's name. He's coming back. And now his stock is moving up a little bit more, and it's going to be interesting to see if he actually ends up staying at LSU.
Yeah, because listen. Yeah, he
There's some conversation.
Head coach somewhere.
Head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, that's facts. That's absolute facts. All right, so Sarah, we got 2 semifinals. I think you're going to have 2 great matchups, but I think one's going to be to BTA. Let's go with what I think the BTA first. Miami versus Ole Miss. What do you like, and who do you got to win?
I mean, I love the story of Ole Miss, and I have spoken a lot about the fact that I actually am a Lane Kiffin fan, but I would love to see them make it all the way and look at him and be like, you could have gotten this and you screwed yourself over because you thought that the LSU program was so much better, and I don't know about that. I think that Miami is definitely playing off momentum. I think that they are doing enough on offense where they are not making the mistakes. They are using Fletcher in the right way. And I think that is probably where they're going to have to really use his feet a lot more, and even Tony's, because Ole Miss, I mean, they definitely have a better defense than what they, not Ohio State's, but like they definitely have a good defense. But I think that you can put a little bit more, you can run a little bit more on them. You can do a lot more with them. I think that Georgia just didn't have all of the parts against them last week. And I think Stockton just made some mistakes that he hadn't made all season. So that was, a tough thing to see. And I think that the coaching when it comes to Ole Miss is right now really on par. I think Trinidad is, he wants to prove something because he wants to get that extra year of eligibility, which I don't know if that's going to happen. But it's that defense on Miami. It is scary. It is good. It will be the most amount of pressure that I think that Trinidad's going to see, especially in these playoffs. I mean, it is, they are grown men. Those 2 edge rushers, they are They are both going to be in the first round in the draft. I mean,
Top
and they're
15.
being coached. They're coached by a Hall of Fame player also. Like that guy knows how to explain this game. Like I saw the interview where Bane didn't even know who Jason Taylor was whenever he became his coach. And then he was like, oh, okay, now I see why. Like this is great. This is great talent you have. And again, I think that momentum means something and you're both falling off the momentum, but Miami has been trying to prove something for the past 3 weeks and they are proving it tenfold. I mean, they are not allowing themselves to to get beaten by themselves. They are playing, they have much better play calling, and that defense is giving enough of, a little bit of enough of a head start that offense has the time out on the field. Time of possession is going to matter in this game. And whether or not you can get Trinidad to make mistakes, he hasn't made a lot. I mean, but I'd like to see what happens. So we'll see. Yeah. I think it's going to be Miami. I think it's a great story, but I think it's going to be closer than. I don't think it's going to be a BTA. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I don't know if I'd say a score because I can't really think of one off the top of my head, but I think it's going to be a really entertaining game, no matter what.
I like Kennedy's comment. The Miami trench play is currently changing how teams will spend NIL money. They bully people. Kennedy, they took a blueprint from Georgia, who took a blueprint from Alabama, who took a blueprint all the way back to Miami Hurricanes back in the 80s and the 90s, who took a blueprint from Nebraska. It's always been about the trenches. Football will always be about the dominance of the offensive defensive line. They have 2 NFL draft picks, first rounders on their offensive line, and they have 2 first rounders on their defensive line. I mean, what you going to do? they're hats off to them. Desmond Bain is a top 5 pick. The other kid is probably a top 15 pick. The starting left tackle is a top 5 pick. The starting right tackle is probably a top 15 or 20 pick. What you going to do? Football always will be about the trenches, and they got it. So I'm saying BTA all day and night. They're going to apply pressure on Trinidad like he's never seen before, right? But where Trinidad might be able to take advantage of it, unlike Julian saying, he'll run.
Yeah.
Saying ain't going to run. So that's a whole nother story for another show. All right, we'll go to the top of the bracket. Oregon, Indiana, right? Now, I'm just going to say this before we start it out. It's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to beat a team twice in college football, right? So, Sarah, your thoughts concerning Indiana and Oregon?
Yeah, it is hard to beat a team twice. But I don't know. After watching the Big Ten championship, after watching this last game with Indiana, I've been sold. You talk about trenches. That team literally got the MVP given to their center for their offensive line. I don't think I saw one person even get close to touching Mendoza for about 95% of that game. I mean, that is a lot. That says a lot. I know that Oregon, my thing that's going to be is time of possession in this game because both offenses know how to keep a hold on that ball. Oregon, though, has been known to be a little too quick, and then their defense is on the field too long, which is why that James Madison game ended up being a little bit closer than they would have liked. Yeah. I think that Dante Moore is very efficient. I think Dante Moore is a very good football player. I definitely see him probably going into the draft and being successful. Even if he comes back next year, I think that Lanning has done a lot. I think it says a lot about all 4 of these teams. The coaching has really come into play a lot more than I think that we've seen in the past couple of years. And I mean, I'm not going to say this like nobody doesn't know this, because if you're listening to us, you know that, yeah, exactly. There's the Final Four coaches are all disciples of Nick Saban. I mean, that says something.
Yeah, and Saban's the god, the guru and the god. Yeah, absolutely.
He is. He's the godfather. He should be the one the things that come out of his mouth about how to fix this and the actual amount of caring that he has for his students, which is why I think these coaches have a lot going for them, is because I don't hear a lot of these guys talking about schemes and everything like that. They're talking about the kids that they have on this field and how much faith they have in these kids and how much they have done to work on these kids. And that says a lot. I've listened to Lanning talk for years about the way that he develops people and the way that he treats his players. Same thing with Signetti. Same thing with Crystal. And even with Golding, he's new, but look at what he was under. He was under Kiffin. Kiffin literally did yoga with, like, he did all these things with his players. Your players matter. And these are why these coaches are doing well. I think it's going to be a close game because I think Lanning has a lot more game planning and he's had a lot more time to study Indiana than he probably did back in October. But I just think that the way that defense puts the pressure on your quarterbacks and that offensive line keeps the pressure off of Mendoza and the weapons that he has and the fact that they're able to run the ball, I just think that Indiana is going to pull this off. I think it'll be a lot closer than maybe some people think. I think that it's 3.5 right now. I think that that's a good spread. I know that some people are looking at that game in October and they think it's going to be closer to that. No, I think that Oregon has become a much better team as the time has gone by, but Indiana has not slipped yet. And I'd be very, very surprised to see if they slip out on Thursday. I'd be very surprised.
Sarah, I said, and I've been saying publicly since Michigan won the national championship, I've been saying publicly that you'll never see an undefeated national champion. I've been saying it on every podcast I'm on.
And you have.
They're in a fast track and they're in Georgia. And Dan Lanning is a mad scientist just like Signetti. But Signetti's got grown men. I think that this is going to be an instant classic. I really do believe it's going to come down to who's got the ball last. Because they're going to go at it. They are going to go. And all the mistakes that Oregon made the first time around, they're not going to do that on this time around. But how do you prepare for a mad scientist? Signetti is the epitome of the new regime of college football. They are building a monster in Indiana. They are literally building a monster, right? I've said this privately. I'm going to say it publicly. Indiana is the new Clemson. How you saw Clemson just ramp up and then like they went on a 5 or 6 year run. Yep. Indiana's the new Clemson. Book it. They might not get there yet, but they're there. And he's just going to keep stocking and stocking and stocking. And unlike Dabo Swinney, he's going to go get his players. So I look for this to be a classic game. I got to stick with Indiana. And you might see another undefeated champion, 3 in a row from the Big Ten. But, hey, it's going to be a great game. Sarah, we've reached the end of the podcast, the end of the Level Up College Football Podcast. Your closing thoughts before we get out of here.
No, I think that there is a lot to talk about when it comes to college football and the NCAA and all of this stuff. I love the conversation that we've been having. I love a lot of the people's comments. I agree with some of them. I don't agree with all of them, but I think that it's great that we are having this conversation, even in something like our podcast, because they're having this conversation all around. And you need more opinions. You need more voices. You need more people to really make a statement out of this and really explain why there are so many issues and things, and there's resolutions. So I can't wait to see these games. I can't wait to see, who we get in the national championship. I think that no matter what, we talk a lot about the problems, but these are great, two great games that are coming on Thursday. And it is going to be lights out, some of the best football that we've seen in the past couple of years. And that is why I love it. That is why I love what some of this has become, because you are getting these types of games consistently, except for maybe 2 a year. So yeah, I love it.
Facts.
Can't wait.
Hey, Aaron, man, thanks for rocking with us, man. Big G was good. Yeah. Hey, man, I ain't been to bed yet, bro. I ain't been to bed. Check me out tomorrow on the Keep It 100 podcast at noon. I'm gonna be all Steelers talk. All Steelers talk. You hear me? I ain't been to bed yet because I've been dissecting it, right? Golden said in his interview with Saban was a 5-hour whiteboard session. Yeah, that's ain't diabolical. That's called coaching. You get some coaching and you teach them how to coach, right? Tim Lyons said, wonder what Triple H had cooked up for these playoff games across the NFL and college. I'm not sure. Afton, we appreciate the love that you rocking with us, man. Y'all listen, if you have not liked and subscribed, make sure you like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the KnoItAllz Level Up College Football Podcast. You can find me, my co-host Sarah C, Theresa-B B-Dirt, and the crew and the gang every week on Monday for the Level Up College Football Podcast. And you can find me everywhere across the board, including tomorrow on Keeping It 100 and the Big Show tomorrow night, because me and Big B, we got some conversations going on about our diabolical Pittsburgh Steelers. After, I need to go to bed. Hey, listen, she's right. As for Big G, Sarah C, Theresa-B B-Dirt, we thank you guys again for rocking with the Level Up College Football Podcast. Have a great and outstanding week. Enjoy your new year. And y'all, we're here. We are a week away from the championship game of college football of 2025. Have a great week. We'll see you guys later. Peace.